with yet another exciting movie news live. This one's actually pretty jammed. A lot is happening today in the world of movies and TV and pop culture in general. We see a bunch of folks are waiting here already. We'll let other folks trickle in and get their bearings and get a beverage of their choice to hang out with us. We're so thrilled that you're here. Please let us know how we look, how we sound, if we're coming in strong. Again, audio levels vary from day to day. Hola, Andrew Kruger. Good to see you.
Hey.
Yes, a ton to talk about. And hello to Mike Webb. Hello to our good friend Jesse's here. Hi, everybody. I want to talk about Gena Rowlands, but
Yes,
I want to wait a sec to let folks get in here.
sure.
There's just so much news in the world. Hello from Vancouver to Mick Lebowski. Hello, Jonathan and Angel. Angel, I hope you're doing better after your skiing accident.
Mm.
I am doing better after my skiing accident. Thanks for asking.
How's the walking?
I walk a lot. I can
Good,
walk.
good.
Let's see. Alonzo's audio is good, but the video is fuzzy.
I mean, I know I'm probably a little wobbly because I have like my laptop is sitting on books and my camera is on my laptop. So the table gets touched at all, it all kind of like shakes. If it's pixely, I don't know what to tell you.
Is everything else closed out?
Everything else is closed out. Dave shut off his laptop, so I'm the only person using the Wi-Fi at the moment. So
All right. Well, sorry.
you're
We live in crowded places. Hopefully, it'll get better as it goes on. Imad Hamed, hello from Lebanon. So
Hey,
happy to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Yes, let's talk about the legend, Gena Rowlands. Alonzo,
yes.
please tell us all about her career.
Yeah, so I think she is. We were talking about this on NPR. I think she is as essential to the kind of evolution of acting in 20th century American cinema as Brando was. I think she took performance in general, but I think women's performances in cinema to like really untrod upon ground. I think she really found the cracks in her characters in a way that was really raw and gripping. So obviously she's best remembered for the legendary work that she did with her husband John Cassavetes in films like A Woman Under the Influence and Opening Night and Gloria and Love Streams and Minnie and Moskowitz. But I think also like turned in really memorable work for people like Paul Mazursky and Woody Allen and Jim Jarmusch. The Advocate did a really lovely obit remembering her role in an early Frost, which was like kind of the first big TV movie to tackle the AIDS pandemic.
Oh,
And she played the
interesting.
mother of Aidan Quinn's character, who was coping with the fact that her son was dying, and that was a really key role to take at a moment when it really mattered. I think she had a really extraordinary career, and the tragic irony, alas, is that she grappled with Alzheimer's for the last few years after famously playing a character with Alzheimer's in her son Nick's film The Notebook.
Right. Yes. We have a couple of folks mentioning the notebook here. David Leman says, can't believe Gena Rowlands just passed away. I rewatched the notebook for the 10th anniversary. That final scene is even harder to get through now. Right.
Oh,
Making
yeah.
the point that you just made. Yeah, and I remember the Aidan Quinn movie too. I just think about the rawness of her and the emotional truth of her, and she did something startling every single time, no matter what the film was, and you just felt like this directness about her that kind of like blew you away. You didn't feel like you were watching actorly
Yeah.
ticks or like
It's
a veneer.
someone is caught behaving.
Right, a veneer of the performance. It never felt like mannerly or actorly. It felt like you were watching a real person, whether she's fragile or ferocious or
Yeah.
everything in between. There felt like a really piercing emotional truth to her work that was hugely influential. She was our recipient in 2015 of our LA Film Critics Career Achievement Award, and Angelina Jolie wanted to come and present it to her.
Yeah, I
And I think
remember.
that speaks to the kind of influence that she had over multiple generations of actresses as far as her craft and her intensity. And I think everyone kind of aims for that directness and that truth, and it's hard to achieve.
Yeah, and I think that, she had the kind of intensity that method actors are striving for, that kind of immediacy, that in the moment, that sort of raw reflection upon emotion and pain and all the other things. But it never felt mannered, and it never felt like she was she didn't feel like she was doing anything, you know. It just felt like she was existing and she was being and she was letting us into that, and it just always felt so immediate. What movie did we just watch where the character is watching Gloria? Or I
Oh
was just
no.
watching something. Oh, you know what? It was I watched the director's cut of Texasville
Ah,
that
okay.
Criterion released, and yeah, some of the scenes they put back were Sybil Shepherd's character who has lost a child watching Gena Rowlands in Gloria and sort of
Oh.
responding to that kind of maternal instinct that comes out of that character who is otherwise, you know, kind of in the world of organized crime.
Yeah, Real Dreamer points out Kate Blanchett always talks about her love for Gena Rowlands, and I thought
Mm.
a lot about opening night when I first saw Tar.
Oh yeah. No, that's a good connection. I can totally see that. I finally saw opening that a couple of years ago in repertoire here and was blown away by it. And Love Streams, which was Cassavetes, I think, last film as a director that Canon put out of all people. They play brother and sister, but it's still like she is a character who is really undergoing this kind of breakdown, and the way that she presents it is so she really makes you wait for the moment where she really sort of unleashes it all, but you can tell how she has lost her way and lost her grip on things along the way, but she makes each moment of that immediate, where it just feels like if you were somebody in her life, you wouldn't immediately know that something was wrong, even though like what she's doing is so bizarre and outrageous.
Our friend Jesse points out Rooney Mara credits Gena Rowlands for turning to acting.
Wow.
Yorick Schmidt says, "Greetings from Luxembourg. I think you might be our
Oh,
first friend from
I
Luxembourg.
think
So,
so.
hi, good to see you." Also, apparently, Alonso, your video has just all of a sudden improved dramatically. All of a sudden, you're super sharp and clear.
Well, I did so much to make that happen, so you're welcome, everyone.
Your inner beauty and strength shine through, just like Gena Rowlands. I think too about the fact that she was so beautiful, like so
Yeah.
traditionally beautiful that it would have
Hmm.
been easy to play glamorous roles,
Yeah,
to
she could
play
have
like
been in
romantic
the
roles, and she did not.
ingenue, yeah, for
She
sure.
turned towards stuff that was more challenging and that drew away from the prettiness of
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, I mean, Woman Under the Influence is I can't imagine what it was like for audiences in the early 70s to see that movie, because I don't think you've up to that point never seen a woman on screen. Like even somebody like, you know, Anna Magnani, you know, in the neo-realist films, who was really like keeping it raw and real. Like it is such an unglamorous, un-ego-y performance, but it is so rich in kind of emotional content. It is at times hard to watch, and appropriately so.
Yeah, we were talking about having Gena Rowlands be the subject of our September off the menu poll on our Patreon to have Alonzo select several of her films for our folks to vote on there. So if you are a member of our Patreon, great. If not, you can join us at patreon.com/befastalldday. And our members from $5 up get to vote on the poll, but everyone gets to watch the review.
Yes, everyone, all the subscribers get to watch. Yes.
Subscribers get to watch the review. Yeah, you guys subscribe. So yeah, so I think a fitting tribute to Gena Rowlands and her very eclectic and lengthy filmography. So R.I.P. to a legend. Also, a couple other deaths this past week. Peter Marshall. I learned from you,
Yes.
Alonzo. Hollywood Squares host Peter Marshall.
Yes, he, you know, was a vocalist, and like so many of the people that I grew up watching on game shows, it wasn't until much later that I discovered, like, you know, had won Tonys, you know, had recording careers. I just, for me, they're like, oh, it's the person on the Gong Show or on, you know, Match Game or whatever. But yeah, Peter Marshall, the avuncular host of Hollywood Squares, the OG edition. And I think, you know, we talk a lot about how great Paul Lynde was on that show and the sort of the zingers he would fire off. But man, Peter Marshall was the guy setting him up. He
Yeah.
would throw him the question, and he was so good at like laying out the red carpet for then Paul Lynde to come in and really land it. So yeah, he was definitely a formative figure of my youth.
I think it's a skill. I think it's a gift to
Yeah,
know when to step in and when to step back, when to let
yeah,
the talent shine, when to like set it up for them to shine. So,
yeah. You know, the great
um,
talk show hosts have that.
yes. T Love Hater says Christy was on Jeopardy. No, I was not, but Alonzo
I
was.
was. You were on Wheel of Fortune?
I was on Wheel of Fortune and
Yeah,
Scrabble with Chuck
nice.
Woolery and Pat Sajak.
Yee!
Yes. So RIP to him. And also Greg Kinn. Greg
Yes.
Kinn died at 75.
Speaking of Jeopardy,
Yeah, I lost on Jeopardy,
well, no,
baby.
our love's in Jeopardy, and then Weird Al made it. I lost on Jeopardy.
Yes. So RIP to him, a Bay Area music legend, Greg
Yeah.
Kinn. Okay, we got to talk about Matthew Perry because there were arrests
Yes.
announced yesterday in the death of Matthew Perry, his assistant, two doctors, and a couple of drug dealers. This whole long, wide ranging investigation into his death. He died of a ketamine overdose and drowned in his hot tub in his backyard at his home in the Pacific Palisades. And it was a tragic death because he had fought substance abuse for so long and was so candid about it and shared his story with so many people to hopefully be an inspiration to others to get rid of addiction in their lives. And people close to him took advantage of that vulnerability. And you see the text messages. I don't know if you saw this, Alonzo.
No.
The doctors, there are texts with the doctors like, I wonder how much this moron will pay us. Like they were
Ugh.
preying on him. They knew that, and the assistant was shooting him up. And then the
Ugh.
doctors would lie about how much they were prescribing him.
Oh
And they would
man.
give him a whole lot more. And then the assistant would administer it. And so these five people, allegedly again, and some of them pled guilty already. But
Ugh.
one of the drug dealers was known as the ketamine queen,
Mm.
this woman in North Hollywood who they raided her house.
This sounds like a homicide in slow motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yuck.
And it's an interesting precedent too when you think about so many people who have died of overdoses of some sort,
Hmm.
where like Michael Jackson, or
Yes.
like too much it was propofol, right? That he
Propofol.
was
Yeah.
on. But I think about,
And
like
again, under
Tom
alleged
Petty,
medical supervision.
right? Prince was
Mm.
under a lot of like pain medication.
Yeah.
You just wonder like how much of that was people who were using their proximity and the weakness and the need of this famous wealthy person and taking advantage of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the tragedy is that you know legit doctors are going to say no to these guys, but there's going to be somebody out there who will say yes to Matthew Perry because it's Matthew Perry and wants access to the world of Matthew Perry, and so yeah, that is the tragedy. I think that unfortunately celebrities often needed a united front of people saying no to them, because they were grappling with addiction. It wasn't like they were just because they're celebrities and they think all of their whims should be catered to. They're addicts, and addicts have to like find a way to like eventually hit that place where no one is going to source them. And unfortunately, if you have money and you have clout and all this other stuff, that you don't find that point. Someone's going to say yes, someone is going to take care of the thing that you're asking for, and it's not going to end well.
Yeah. I just think it's so sad, because he had
Yeah,
been so open about his struggles
absolutely.
and tried to inspire others to to get clean and get help. So that was just announced yesterday, and we got to talk about this whole the beef behind It Ends With Us will not
Ooh,
end. It
man.
will not end here. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
Justin Baldoni, the director and the co-star, the guy who plays the abusive, hunky neurosurgeon, has hired this crisis PR agency. There are all these conflicting reports as far as like various cuts, how much Ryan Reynolds had an influence here. Did his editor step in and create a whole other cut that Blake Lively liked better? It's all bad.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it seems like, I don't know. It all, yeah, it all seems bad. That's all I'm going to go with at this point. I'm sure much more is going to be revealed by each side in the weeks to come, and we'll just have to sort through it all, I guess.
Yeah, there's a scene where they meet on the rooftop of this building in Boston that supposedly Ryan Reynolds punched up, and that is obvious when you listen to it because there's like a rat-a-tat kind of deadpan flirtiness to it that sounds
Hmm.
like him.
Huh.
And so I guess he had a lot of influence, but it just increasingly, again, who knows, two sides to every story, but
Sure.
increasingly it sounds like Blake Lively is bigfooting this person and like using the clout and the power of her husband to bigfoot this production. Yeah, it's bad. And then of course there's the whole like sleuthing of he follows all of them on Instagram and they don't follow him back. It's so high school. But then
Yeah.
Alonzo, you just sent me a video today of some junket interview. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's this odd clip. Somebody posted it, where it's basically the interviewer saying, "Well, look, this when people encounter celebrities, it usually have a very brief window of moment to say anything. But obviously, people are going to see this movie and it's going to resonate with them because maybe they've survived, domestic violence or whatever. And like, what's the best way for people to approach you about this movie and tell them, what it meant to you?" And she goes off on this weird tangent about like her location on social media and I don't know, it's a very not even like the kind of polite dismissive answer to a question like that. It just makes her come off as not understanding the implications of the movie that she has just made.
Yeah, it's very snippy and kind of flippant and like, what? You want my phone number too?
Yeah,
And
like,
it
oh,
was just
my
like it would have been
privacy.
so easy to give like the most perfunctory, polite answer about,
Yeah.
the domestic abuse that the film depicts. And so
So anyway, yeah, I
anyway.
suspect no one's going to come out of this looking good.
Right. And then Courtney Howard posted a thing on Facebook yesterday about how she was also snippy with somebody who asked her about the wardrobe choices in the film,
Uh-huh.
which is bizarre because she's a notorious clothes whore. She's a
Yeah.
fashion icon. Um, the movie that made her famous is about pants. Come on, people.
Yeah.
She knows that clothes can tell a story. She's
You're
a fixture at the Met Gala. Look at a
you're
simple favor.
you're only watching The Age of Adeline for the outfits. Like,
Right.
let's be honest.
She's statuesque. She wears clothes beautifully. She knows how to wear clothes beautifully. So I think
Yeah.
this is a totally relevant question. Anyway,
Hmm.
Avery says, so happy to catch you guys live. Huge fan for years. Christy, your
Thank
hair
you.
looks fab today, by the way. Thank you. You know what? Lola V, people. Jennifer Aniston knows hair care products. And I got suckered by all the ads on Instagram. I'm like, fine. You know what? She's got awesome hair. Let's give it a try. And I love it. I wish they are not sponsors. This is not an ad. I love the Lola V products. I wish they would sponsor us, but it makes my hair silky and smooth. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, so I don't foresee it ends with us beef ending anytime soon. We will
No.
keep following up on it. Let's talk about Joaquin Phoenix dropping out of this new Todd Haynes film. What do we know about that?
I mean, is there an update? I mean, there was the sort of Christine Vachon post that went up and got taken down, I believe, but it basically kind of boils down to he initiated this project. He was super down to do it. Reportedly was like pushing for like gay love scenes that would have tipped into NC-17, and Todd Haynes was like, maybe not, maybe we stay in the R venue. And I don't know if that's even true, but apparently whatever happened, Joaquin Phoenix bolted like 5 days before shooting was supposed to start, which is late in the game for a project that is only exists because you're part of it. It's
Yeah.
not like they can just recast him. This is a thing that he initiated. I don't know what kind of ownership stake he has in it. I don't know who else you find with 5 days a window to like step into that role and be as attractive to your backers, and so it's screwing over Haynes and Vachon, who
Sure.
like had committed to the next year probably to this project. It screws over countless crew members who probably had turned down other jobs, and right now in the current state of the industry, nobody is in a place to turn down gigs. So if you are a gaffer or part of the camera crew or part of the costuming crew or the makeup, whatever, like, you have committed to this project that is now getting pulled out from under you, and so good luck getting another gig to take its place. So will Joaquin Phoenix get away with this as a bankable Oscar-winning star? Sadly, probably. But I hope that it maybe makes people question whether or not they want to work with someone who is this not just capricious, but indifferent to the suffering of others.
Everything about it is very strange
Yeah,
because he is an established star. Todd Haynes is an established filmmaker. Christine Vachon is a legend of a producer.
yeah,
She is a genre unto herself. She and Pam Koffler. And I just think like everyone knows better. It is capricious, totally, and it's bad form. And I've seen the notion out there that like he could face legal repercussions because of it.
maybe.
As you point out, everyone had committed to this for a long time. Production has been precarious in the last several months. Like really production hasn't totally recovered from
From the
the pandemic
strikes
or the
and the
strikes and
pandemic,
everything.
yeah.
And so, to have this kind of major production be in jeopardy is unfortunate for a lot of the folks involved. Yeah, Dalen says, not going to lie, him backing out of this project is showing his privilege as an A-lister where he doesn't need the money, unlike so many on the crew who do
Yeah.
need the paycheck.
As I believe it was Drea who said on this week's Max Film, or it might have been Fran Hafner. I hope everyone asks him about it during the Joker 2 press tour.
Right, because and that's in Venice. Venice is coming really soon. They're
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
Joker,
It
premiering there.
starts there, and then it's just going to go through the rest of award season because Warner Brothers is thinking like more Oscar action here, and I'm sure if even if journalists are told don't bring up the Todd Haynes thing, I hope you all do, my brothers and sisters, and nibblings in the entertainment industry, because he
Yeah.
should be have his feet put to the fire about this.
Yeah, I agree. Angel says, Alonzo, early thoughts on The Room Next Door. I read a plot summary and didn't understand shit.
I've been avoiding plot summaries, so I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
excited, always excited when there's a new Almodovar movie, and that he's got Tilda and Julianne Moore for his first English language feature. I think it's going to be super cool. I hope
Exciting.
I get to see it in Venice, although I'm just going to be there for the first half, and I'm hearing rumors that this year the festival won't be as front loaded as it has been in the past, that a lot of the big premieres may be coming in the back half, and so we'll see. But I'm very excited to see it. He and Todd Haynes are probably my favorite living filmmakers, so I'm always excited when they have something new coming out.
Yeah, for sure. I hope you get to see it soon. Oliver 3748, thank you so much for your kind contribution. We're happy to
Thank
see
you.
you here. Oliver says, looking forward to you guys' Alien review. We just recorded it, so it'll
Mm-hmm.
be up in a little bit. I remember watching Evil Dead and being blown away by Fede Alvarez, but I think the potential I once saw in him is gone. I was really let down by Romulus. Oh, interesting.
Hmm.
Well, if you saw our out of the theater reaction, you know how we feel about it a little bit, and we expand on all of that in non-spoilery ways. So stick around for that coming soon. Brent says, I'm seeing Romulus here in about an hour. Look forward to hearing your thoughts on that, my friend. Okay,
Cool.
let's move on to Abraham Lincoln being gay. There's a documentary about Abraham Lincoln's secret gay life called Lover
Yes.
of Men coming out on September 6th, which of course we're going to have to review. I'm curious about this. What do you know about this?
I don't know much about the movie. As far as the Lincoln stuff, that has been kind of floating around in historical circles for a couple of decades now. Like when I was at the Advocate, which was what 2000 to 2006. I remember we ran a big story about this, where there's this idea that he and Joshua Speed, shared a bed for years, were very close and intimate. How what this has to say about his relationship with Mary Todd Lincoln, and um, again, as I discovered in writing Hollywood Pride, like in talking about LGBTQ plus history, you have to kind of expand your idea of what definitive sourcing is, because it's not like you can find like county records or birth certificates that are going to tell you need letters, you need diaries, you need testimony from people involved of the period. So I know that it is not considered a stone cold fact. There's a lot of a dissension in the sort of Lincoln historical community about whether or not, oh, well, it was the time and men had closer friendships and they interacted with women less, but it didn't necessarily mean that he was, so I don't know. And it'll be interesting to see what evidence and sort of narrative this documentary lays out, and how, if it changes the conversation at all.
Seth and Gage are both pointing out that the Broadway play Oh Mary features a
Yes.
gay Lincoln.
Well, yeah, exactly. The from Cola Scola's new Broadway hit "Oh Mary" definitely digs into that, and Cole plays Mary Todd Lincoln. I would love to see that. I hope that they come to LA with it. But yeah, so again, this is not news per se, if for people who pay attention to what's happening in historical circles, or in who's queer in history now. But I'm sure that when this movie comes out, a lot of people will be like, what? I had no idea, and how dare you besmirch our greatest president.
I'm sure there will be great consternation, but
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what that's about. Did you guys watch the Olympics closing ceremony? Did you watch Tom Cruise swooping down from the top of the Olympic Stadium in Paris? I did.
I didn't. Tell me all about it.
I it's like the Tom Cruisiest Tom Cruise thing ever,
Well, of course.
like
Look at me,
so.
everybody.
Right, he's on top of the stadium. You got the like a drone or something like above him. He's looking up at the drone, and then he's on a wire and rappels down. Mission Impossible style, rappels down onto the floor of the
So wait, is there like
stadium.
a hole at the top of the dome? Is that, and he's,
Yeah, it's like a big open. It's like a stadium. It's an open air thing.
oh, okay. I thought it was a dome thing. Okay,
Oh
gotcha.
no. It's like outdoors, and so he's
I
at the
see.
top of it. He's like, remember, like Lady Gaga did that at the Super Bowl
Yeah, okay.
too.
Yes.
So Tom Cruise, because he's Tom Cruise doing his own stunts, and you see he's
Mm.
got like a thing around his leg where he can like pull up the brake to time exactly how he lands, and of course hits his mark just perfectly. The man is a pro, and then gets on a motorcycle, no helmet,
Of
because
course.
he's Tom Cruise, and
Mm.
he has the Olympic flag on the back of it, and he zooms out of the stadium. I think he talks to Simone Biles and Karen Bass on the way out of town. LA Mayor Karen Bass. We get the Olympics in 4 years. That's what all this is setting up. And so
Oh, God.
they've cut this whole like little mini movie thing of him like riding his motorcycle through the streets of Paris with the Olympic flag, and then there's like a skydiving thing, and eventually he gets to LA and he passes off the flag to somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. But he's hanging from the Hollywood sign. He
Of
makes
course.
the O's in
Uh-huh.
Hollywood into the Olympic
Big
rings.
rings. Okay, of course.
Which you've probably seen this because Americana brand memes did stuff with it.
I
This is
missed
why
that.
you've
I
seen
got to go
this.
back and look. I've been seeing the memes now. Like LA can't even open a Trader Joe's without causing a traffic snarl. Like, how are we going to host the Olympics? It's like I I worry about this. Like, our infrastructure is not great, like in terms of bus lines and trains and things that Parisians could avail themselves to. Yeah, I just sense one snarl after another. We just opened a Raising Cane's at the worst intersection in Southern California, in North Hollywood. So I don't know if we're ready. I fear for our readiness, but we'll see. I hope I'm proven wrong.
If you order Raising Cane's on the app beforehand, then you don't have to wait in that long line in your car.
I guess, but I hope only if there's another entrance for people who ordered in the app. I mean, did you ever go by the one in Burbank when it first opened? For months, it was like they had an
No.
entire dedicated lane of traffic to get into their driveway. It's
No,
insane.
but there's one down here, like in the South Bay, in Torrance. When the one opened on Hawthorne Boulevard in Torrance, it was like a madhouse forever.
Yeah.
And like they're not that good. It's not.
They're fine.
I wouldn't wait in that line for that.
They're fine, but it's like, it's like when the first Krispy Kreme opens in your neighborhood, and like, the cops have to come and like guide traffic, So yeah, that, but at the Olympics, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. They've been working on the subway forever, which is why Wilshire's all jacked up, which is why La
Right.
Cienega and La Brea are all jacked up.
Yes.
So we have the Olympics. We have the subway for the Olympics. I just heard yesterday on LAist on Air Talk with Larry Mayo. I talked to the guy from the airport talking about the people mover is going to be done in time for the Olympics, so that when people from all over the world get off of their planes, they're not confused. We're working on infrastructure. We really are. Yes,
Fingers
Teddy, the
crossed.
Olympics were in LA in 1984.
Yeah, but you know what? The Soviet bloc didn't come, so that was a easy breezy version.
Yes. Correct. So, and well, no, maybe they'll be there as like unaffiliated individual person who is not, and that's how they did it with like Russians this time. Like they're like unaffiliated and they get no flag, but they get to do stuff. So also in this big extravaganza ushering in the Olympics to Los Angeles, they had a whole concert with the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Billie Eilish and Snoop Dogg, who is now like the mayor of the Olympics.
Oh,
apparently.
Yeah, please. Snoop Dogg and Flava Flav were like our ambassadors to the world, and they did it. They were great.
Yes. Somebody had a question about a thing that I wanted to ask you. Oh, thoughts on the Bo DeMeo situation?
I don't know. I don't know what the story is there. They talk about he said, corporation said, he claims that he got let go he created X-Men 97. He claims that he had his writing credits taken out of season 2 because he posted some like fan pride art for X-Men, and Disney's like, no, actually you did behavior that we had to investigate and we had to take you off of the show. I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah, but he's posted a whole bunch of stuff on social media, and then there was like vague glimmers about some kind of misconduct on
Yeah.
set. Like,
I mean, do I think on its face that Disney would fire somebody and retaliate against somebody for posting pride themed fan art of one of their properties? No.
yeah,
Does that mean he's not telling the truth? I don't know.
yes. Raymond, no, Raising Cane's is not a sponsor of our show.
No.
I don't think they'd want to be because we don't really like it that much. Also, Leo brings up a good point. I don't think we have enough information about Bo. We don't.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm reserving all. I don't really know.
Yes, agreed. Manny Jacinto is going to play Lindsay Lohan's husband in the Freaky Friday sequel. I support that.
Why not? Yes, more Manny Jacinto. Like I talk about people being unrecognizable from role to role. Dave and I did a whole rewatch of The Good Place, because not rewatch, a watch. We'd never seen it. And we were well into the show before we finally looked it up and realized that Manny Jacinto had played the hot masseur on Nine Perfect Strangers. Because I didn't connect those two characters
Oh.
at all. They're so different, and his body language and like everything he's doing is so different. And then Acolyte rolls around that he's doing something entirely different. I'm like, yes, this guy can do it all. If he wants to play, if he wants to be in the Freaky Friday movie, bring it on. I want to see it.
I did not know who he was at all. And then like he goes skinny dipping. I'm like, who is this?
What ho?
Yeah, and this is something you don't see in a Star Wars property ordinarily,
True.
anything kind of sexual or arousing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Looney says Manny Jacinto is utterly hilarious in The Good Place.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so.
That is good. And then we missed a whole bunch of stuff while we were gone. We were gone, and then I didn't get everything on news last week. Like we didn't talk about Shannon Doherty or Bob Newhart or Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom. And one thing we didn't talk about was Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter reuniting for Waiting for Godot on Broadway in fall 2025.
I don't know whose idea this was. It is genius.
Isn't
It is
it?
genius because you are taking like a beloved lowbrow property and bringing it to the world of like high art theater, and it's great. I think it because it catches everybody's attention. People who in a million years would never go see a production of Waiting for Godot want to see it. I think Beckett purists are like, can they even pull this off? And they're there for what may or may not be a train wreck, or what might be like brilliant. I I couldn't love this more, because both those guys have been so shrewd about creating careers for themselves that defy expectation. Like if you thought that Keanu Reeves was going to be Johnny Utah and Neo for the rest of his career, then he gives you something like Always Be My Maybe or whatever else. Like, I mean, he's just constantly mixing it up. Alex Winter, like one of our leading documentarians right now, if you aren't paying attention to that. And by the way, if you haven't listened to the episode where we interviewed him on the Film Library of Canopy podcast, please do. So yeah, them doing this really like complicated but also comedy centric play, I think it's so great.
I think it's a really cool idea too, and like they had such a long-standing friendship that seems so genuine. So they're going to obviously have really great chemistry with each other. Like they don't have to coax that out of them. That's built in.
Yeah,
and that's going to be a lot of fun.
But it's not like they're doing,
timing.
it's not like they're doing The Odd Couple. They're doing Waiting for Godot. I mean, that's love it.
Yes, I agree. That'll be a lot of fun. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. All right, here's something that I'm interested in for a multitude of reasons. The Poltergeist house is for sale in Simi Valley. So if you
Does
were
the
a
listing
kid,
mention whether the bodies got moved?
it's funny because they forgot to move the bodies. So what they this is the first time it's ever been on the market. Like it was
Wow.
built in 1979,
Mm.
and this is the first time it's been on the market. It looks exactly like it did in the movie in 1982. The listing is very cheeky. It says this house is clean. But nonetheless, it is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2,373 square foot house. It has a pool and a hot tub. Yes, they've gotten the bodies out from underneath there. But if you look at the photos, it looks just like it. The kitchen looks just like it. That stairway, it looks very, very similar to how it did when they made the movie there. 1.175 million in Simi Valley. And it's just sort of like faux Tudor suburban tract
Right.
house. You know, so many houses like in that northern part of the valley, Chatsworth, Northridge, Granada Hills, they look like that. So would you buy this famous house?
I mean, if you were going to turn it, like, could you turn it into a landmark slash museum, or would that violate zoning regulations? Because I'm sure the neighbors don't want to have to deal with that nightmare of parking or whatever. But like, I love the fact that HGTV that bought the Brady house
Yes.
and restored it to its Bradiness, like
Yeah.
turned the inside into something Brady-ish, which it never was. It was always
Yeah.
just an exterior. I thought that was genius, and I don't know what purpose that home serves now. If it's a home, if people rent it for like weddings or something,
Yeah.
but like, I would love a similar thing for the Poltergeist house, although it sounds like they haven't really changed anything, so you don't even need to make it over to retrofit it. It just still looks like that.
It looks like that. The backyard looks different.
Yeah,
I don't think I would want to live there. First of all,
for
because
the
this
looky
movie
loos.
that and also like that movie traumatized me. That
Well,
came out the
yeah.
summer I turned 10.
Mm,
And again, not unlike Time Bandits, the idea of like stuff coming out of your closet to attack you and
in your
and
sleep.
and and the little girl and just like the creepy clown, like Toby Hooper, man,
Yeah, that's a
knows what he's
lot.
doing. So I don't think I would live there. We've got a poll going on our Instagram though. Would you buy this house? I
I
don't think
mean,
I would.
I live near the house in Nightmare on Elm Street, and the door is still red. Like, they have not tried to make it look any different. So I'm sure
Oh.
they're used to people driving by and taking pictures in front of it or whatever.
I'm friends with the family that lives in the Happy Days house.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they just use the exterior. It's on Cahuenga.
Oh,
And people drive by and knock on the door all the time. Like, that would suck at your house.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like, that's why I think it's better, when the stuff was on the Warner Ranch. I mean, they just tore it down, but the house that was the Griswold house from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which was also the Danny Glover house from Lethal Weapon, but
Ah,
it was a
very
set.
interesting. Richard Henne asks, were you guys affected by the earthquake? Funny, you should ask, Richard. We were doing a Table for One review with our friend
Yeah.
Josh, and we had just wrapped up. We had just stopped recording. We were just chit chatting a little bit afterward. And so Alonzo's in his box, and I'm in my box, and I see it hit him first. And he's like, earthquake. And then a second later, I felt it and could see things like I could see the pictures on the wall and like the blinds behind me were swaying a little bit. And there's a cabinet door that kind of opened up a little bit. Like we didn't have damage, but
Yeah, I felt
felt
it,
it.
but like nothing fell off a shelf or anything. It was fine, but yeah, it was just weird to be live at that moment because the epicenter was just north of me in like South Pasadena, Glendale-ish. So as it radiated outwards, it hit me and then it hit Christy.
It was kind of fun to watch, like how long it took. Not very long
Yeah.
at all. It was a pretty good size one.
Yeah, I felt it a lot of times. I was at a movie recently and I came out like, "Oh, did you feel the earthquake?" I was like, "No, I completely missed it." But it was obvious, but it wasn't, terrifying or damaging or anything.
Right. I mean, it didn't occur to me to jump under the table or anything. I was like,
No.
earthquake. Yes. So there's that. And then also, Alonzo, I had to ask you about Hallmark Plus is
Ooh.
starting to stream on
Yes.
September 10th. Are you excited about that?
I kind of am. Yeah. This is, the previous Hallmark CEO, the guy who really it was under his reign that the network was so white and straight and like all the things that people make fun of Hallmark movies about, they're really making fun of that guy's era of it, where there was all this, the woman returning to the small town and blah 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 blah. Not that they've radically changed since then, but they've made a lot of steps in the right direction. Anyway, that guy was so technology phobic that he allegedly had his emails printed out by an assistant. So their streaming service was never particularly uh, uh, moving forward in any way. It was just kind of like, hey, here's some reruns and here's some movies that we showed, but not all of them and not with any kind of timely way. This new version, they're still not, I think because of the way the deals are set up, they're not going to be like immediately showing the stuff that's going to premiere on the channel, although Peacock does. So if
Hmm.
you aren't a cable person, but you do have Peacock and you want to see like the new Christmas movies when they drop, you get like a 72-hour window to do that. But they are really getting aggressive about making their streaming service into a destination. They have a lot of stuff that is going to premiere there, that's going to drop, and it's maybe eventually going to make its way to the terrestrial cable network, if that's not a contradiction to the cable network. Um, including a lot of Christmas stuff and including a lot of reality stuff that seems like it could be fun. Like there's going to be a like crazy lights, show, people's backyard sort of displays. There's going to be a show where Jonathan Bennett is going to like have 10 hunky guys who are competing to be a lead in a Hallmark Christmas movie. So yeah, I think it shows they're trying something new and they're trying to break out of the box a little, even though in as far as cable goes, they're one of the last ones standing. Like so many cable channels now are just these sort of like endless reruns of old sitcoms and stuff. But like when especially in Christmas season, when Hallmark is dropping the new movies, they get crazy rating numbers. They're like in the top 5 with like CNN and ESPN and Fox. So like they're the last cable channel that seems to know how to make cable work, but even they know that cable is not forever. So I'm glad they are making this big leap into something new.
Interesting. Will you get Hallmark Plus?
Yeah, I'm already getting Hallmark movies now, so it rolls over.
Oh, I
it's
see.
gonna be more per month, but yeah, I'm gonna be there from day one, baby.
I see. It's work related.
It is. It's a write off.
It totally is. Mike Webb, thank you so much for your kind contribution. Mike says,
Thank you.
Alonzo, will you get the chance to see Brady Corbett's film, The Brutalist, at Venice? It is 3.5 hours long with a 15-minute intermission. The head programmer says it's a big surprise at the festival.
Okay. Maybe. They have not announced yet what days things are running. So here's the thing. I've except for 1 year where I was on a jury, I always go to the first half of Venice because traditionally after the first half, Toronto has happened, or sorry, Telluride has happened, Toronto is starting, and most people leave, and most of the big movies have already played. Whatever the big premieres at Venice were going to be, they've already happened. And then a couple years ago, during the pandemic, when I wasn't going, they premiered Last Duel in the latter half of the festival, and they premiered one of the Halloweens, like I think the second David Gordon Green Halloween in the latter half of the festival. And this year, apparently, scuttlebutt is a lot of bigger stuff is going to happen in the second half. So maybe the Brady Corbett movie, maybe Joker 2, maybe Almodovar, dunno. Waiting to hear what they say. Do I have to start going to all of Venice in years to come? Maybe. But in the meantime, I'm just sort of waiting to hear what the schedule is going to be. And if it's showing during the first half, then yes, I'm much more likely to see it. Will I get to see the documentary about the day the clown cried? Don't know yet.
It seems weird that like we're so close to it starting and there's no schedule.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you like be able to plan?
I asked my editor about this and she said, yeah, it's going to be like a week to 10 days out. So by the time we meet again here next Friday, I should have an idea what's going on. The other thing that I'm dreading, and this is very inside baseball, forgive me, but during COVID, they started a thing where it used to be that if you were press, you showed up at the press screening, you got in line, they beeped your tag and in you went. Now you have to pre-book your seat, and not just that you're going to the screening, your actual physical theater seat for each press screening. And these tickets go on sale, and like they'll do like one day it'll be like, okay, it's Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and they go live at 11 a.m. Italy time, which is 2 a.m. my time. And then you have to get onto this website and then like wait in the queue until it's your turn. And then you can get like 3 tickets. And if you wanted to get more than 3 tickets for that chunk of days, you have to get back in the line and start all over again and wait another 2 hours for it to be your turn again. So not looking forward to that. But
it seems hugely inefficient. I don't understand it. A couple of questions and comments I want to get to. Mike says, it says on the website, The Brutalist will premiere at Venice on September 1st.
Oh, okay.
In 70, it's going to play in 70 millimeters. So you will be there then.
All right. Well,
yeah,
because I leave on Monday the 2nd. So maybe, fingers crossed.
There you go. Mark Garrett wants to know, what flavor of gelato do you order in Venice?
I like stracciatella a lot, but I try to mix it up. I try to my favorite gelato place pre-pandemic closed, but I found another one that I like, and I try to get a different flavor every day just so I'm really sampling. But yeah, pin me to the wall, stracciatella.
And then Bartleby, thank you very much for your kind donation.
Thank you.
We'll end with Bartleby's question. It says, as a movie critic, I'm curious how long it usually takes you to know if a film is bad. How early can you tell? I think it varies from time to time. There are some that are great and then just fall off a cliff. And then there are some from the very beginning where you're like, oh, what are we
Oh,
doing here?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think definitely as a like certainly when I was programming film festivals, like you get a radar where you're like, if in the first 25 minutes it is not working, it's not going to start working in the last, hour and 10 minutes, but yeah, very often you get movies that start strong and have a great idea and really, are popping and doing all the things they should be doing, and then you get to like the last 20 minutes and suddenly it all collapses. So yeah, you kind of have to see things in their entirety to really know. But I think like Ebert had there was a projectionist in Chicago who said if nothing happens in the first reel, nothing's going to happen in the rest of the movie either, and that's not quite true because
I agree.
what do you do with like Antonioni in that case, but it's not so much about nothing happening, but if you can tell that they don't have a grasp on what they're doing in terms of how it looks, what the performances are like, how the writing is, the sound design quality, that kind of stuff. Like if it's already just not, competent, it's not
Right.
going to magically get better, most
Yes,
likely.
technically. Like if the
Yeah.
writing is bad and the editing is all off,
Yeah.
you know. So, yes, a good question. All right, you guys are wonderful. Thank you for hanging out with us on Friday. This was a little bit longer than usual, so thank you for taking the time to share some of your day with us. We will have reviews for you later on of Alien Romulus and Skincare. And if you're listening to the podcast, also we have the Kneecap audio. Check out our Kneecap review. We're going to get a whole bunch of goodies in for you next week before Alonzo leaves, including we're going to do Dee Dee and
Yes.
Caligula on Tuesday. That is an
Yes.
interesting art house Tuesday for you.
Come back for that.
Yes, and if you are a Patreon member at the lunch date level, we have a lunch date this Monday at noon Pacific. So if you
Yes.
are a member of that, great. If you'd like to be one, more info is available to you at patreon.com/befastallday. Thank you so much for being here. People were saying that they love Dee Dee and it's great. So I'm psyched to see it.
Cool.
Nick's psyched to see it too, because he's entering high school too. So he will
Yeah.
relate to all the awkwardness of it. I'm looking forward to watching it with him.
Have a great weekend, y'all. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.
See
Bye.
you real soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.